So Skip Bayless and Undisputed had their first episode with Richard Sherman, Michael Irvin, and Keyshawn Johnson. And honestly, it looked like Skip Bayless was the moderator because he was quiet most of the time while they was all, you know what I'm saying, trying to get away. Then when he did speak, he spoke well, but he was fighting for his life when he spoke. Like, cause he even told them at one point, like, y'all talk too much. I tried to get a word in, but so then when he did talk, it was kind of like he was doing the sped up talking. He don't talk like the slower pace that he normally talk because he like trying to fight to get a word in. And, you know, it's just because how it went, man. Michael Irvin, you already know Michael Irvin is animated and argumentative. He over the top anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's just how his personality is. He going to get amped up and give you them hype moments or them argumentative moments. But Richard Sherman, to me, just underperformed. He did okay, but it just didn't. He was the number one draft pick to me. When they got Richard Sherman, I was like, oh, that's a good pickup. I'm interested to see how he talks. And then when I seen him on camera, he just doesn't have it yet. And with work, I hope it comes. You know what I'm saying? But he doesn't have it. Keyshawn Johnson, to me, was the star of the most polished in the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? He pleasantly surprised me the most because Keyshawn came off as like he would slow it down a little bit. Like, do you have the argument? And everybody be going. And when he did speak, he seemed to calm it down a little bit. You know, just like seemed like a calm quarterback when it's just a lot going on and you in a 2-minute drill, but your QB still calm. You know what I'm saying? It just came off like that to me. Like he made good points and things like that. And he was the one that I'm going to honestly say I was probably least looking forward to as they signed this so-called dream team. But no disrespect to what they put together, but they got to work on it. I don't know why they didn't have some rehearsals. Like this, and then the segment that Skip talked with Lil Wayne, it was mostly spent talking about the new song that they did, which is cool. Wasn't nothing to holler about like that. I mean, it was cool. It was cool. But, you know, they spent most of the segment talking about the song. And it's like, is Lil Wayne going to talk some sports or you going to keep giving him accolades about his song? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? So, that's the first one, so whatever. But, yeah, man, overall, it seemed like, it honestly seemed like, you know how it came off? Like they was drinking. Like they was drinking and, you know, you be having a good conversation at first and then drinks kick in and then everybody get to be all the unks be playing spades at the table and they get to talk about, no, I'm just saying, Michael Irvin was reminding your boy, it reminded me of me. When you be watching the video back, you like, yeah, about the 47th minute, that's when them couple of drinks kicked in on me, you know what I'm saying? Because they said something slick about my squad or something, they turned it to, yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm just, what you mean? What you mean, dog? I'm just saying. Now, obviously, they weren't drinking on the show, but if you would have tuned in at the moment that the arguments were starting to, which was kind of from the start, it felt like that. It felt like over talking and like getting out of order, you know? And I ain't saying it can't be fixed because it's a learning process. Because like I say, I'm the same way too. It just takes me a little longer. Like you have to press a couple of my buttons to get me to get to going off, or it's a little more lengthy before I start to go like. But Mike or Irvin just started off ready to go like that, like, you know, because it was a subject matter that he was amped up about, and I get that. And that's when you have to go back and watch the tape so you can get better and correct it. You know what I'm saying? Me and my cousins used to do this with the Fly on the Wall show. We used to do episodes. A lot of them were great, start to finish. But then we had a lot of episodes where it would progressively get worse and talking over each other and just more argumentative and to where you couldn't even use a lot of the footage. You know what I'm saying? And we watching it back for the group, but then I'm watching myself like you too loud, you cutting people off, you know what I'm saying, as the episode goes on. So you got to rewatch it and critique yourself and the group to try to make it better, you know what I'm saying? This is why I didn't understand why they didn't do any rehearsals, like, or at least that's the way it seemed to me. Like when I was watching, I think the segment was like 30 minutes or something like that with the Trey Lance stuff. And I, like, half the way in, I'm like, they didn't rehearse this at all, or they didn't rehearse with each other at all. And you ain't never necessarily got to talk about this subject that you're going to talk about live on air But just do some rehearsals talking about different topics or whatever you want to do so you don't seem like you overproduce the show, just to get a feel for how the interaction is going to go between you guys. Who's going to be the guy that is more polished and knows how to set people up for topics? Who's going to be the guy who is more likely to cut people off? Who's going to be the guy to moderate to make sure that people don't continue to get cut off and that they can get their point across before somebody else is allowed to speak? Who's going to be the guy that you probably have to engage more because they are not likely to speak the most? You know what I'm saying? It's just to get a feel of how you're going to carry out the conversation without stepping on each other's toes. And at this point, I could say that Shannon Sharpe is greatly missed. You know what I'm saying? And then it's a different dynamic too. It used to just be two of them. So they was back and forth. It was a lot less stepping over each other, but it's harder to do with four people. But you can definitely see the difference in how polished Shannon is and then how this four-piece is going to have to fit together. You know what I'm saying? Even though I think Keyshawn Johnson is really polished. And then you have to recognize too that it was only two of them. It was Skip and Shannon. So that was a big plus. You know what I'm saying? Because just two of them, you got less noise, less ego, less people talking over each other. And even Skip and Shannon would have their moments where they eager to get back into the conversation, so they would always talk to each other. But it becomes even more when you get four people. And it's really a craft to it that you have to practice. And I get you don't want to practice it too much because you don't want this to be like a rehearsed show. But I'm just saying, maybe if they want to do practice, maybe you just practice on other topics. Maybe you don't even practice sports. Maybe you just get them together and practice music or something like that on days off or whatever. But you definitely got to practice, because I feel like Richard Sherman's voice needs a little honing. Like his cadence and the way that he speaks. It's hard to describe, but sometimes I think he gets a little frantic if he's trying to get his point off, but it isn't as polished yet. It could be good, but he just haven't polished it yet. You know what I'm saying? And it's like just needs some work. I ain't throwing him under the bus, but Skip is gonna have to stop looking like a moderator and look like a part of the actual four, because, like I say, Skip is dry. He doesn't have a lot of talent when it comes to holding the show by itself. But he does well in preparation and this, that, and the other, and stats and all of that for debate. So if you give him something good to bounce off of, as in how Shannon Sharpe was, it's a better conversation. But in this, where you got four of them, and then Richard Sherman, I think, will only be there. I don't know how many days a week he's gonna be. I don't know if all of them are gonna be there every day. But if it is, this might be a long season. Might be a long season, because it starting off, it don't look well with all four of them battling for that need to show everybody like, I'm the guy. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to come in like, yo, this me, I do this. Everybody is feeling like that. You know what I'm saying? Michael Irvin, got to tone it down. Got to tone it down. But don't turn it off, though. Because, Mike, the balance, we need that. We need those moments where, okay, they talking crazy and this, that, and that. We need the moments where, hey, cut it out, man. I'm about to and go off. You know what I'm saying? We need a little bit of that. Need some of that. You know what I'm saying? Don't get rid of all of that. But like I say, what I'm learning, that can't take over the whole show. That can't be every segment 1,000 miles an hour going off, telling people this, that, and that. You know what I'm saying? Over talking to everybody. Like, you gotta give your cohort some room to get their points off as well. You know what I'm saying? And Keyshawn, I would just say Keyshawn, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, he came off the most polished to me as far as how everything was looking. I don't know, man. They're going to have to get the clashing together for me to continue to tune in. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say this y'all kind of starting off, y'all kind of giving Shannon and Stephen A. Smith a layup to kind of start off. They just kind of saw y'all have some troubles, and so they can start off pretty smooth and cool and have good conversations. All they got to do is just not mess it up, and they're gonna be coming out looking great compared to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Which was to be expected anyway. But this can work, but it's gonna take some work. Like y'all got to take some work on how to fit that together. But I think Skip may have threw too many chefs into the same kitchen or cooking out the same pot, wherever you want to say it. But this is your boy P Camp. Let me know what you think, what you don't think. Get at your boy.